Hey guys, it's Angel. Welcome back to the channel. What happens when you have something you don't like, but it's all the way over there, and you don't have a lot of time to do it? What also happens if you're a Houthi rebel, and you want to no longer exist? We have the B-1 Lancer. This is the Rockwell B-1, a supersonic variable sweep-wing heavy bomber used by the US Air Force, and isn't named the Bone, from B-1, Bone. Yeah, it makes sense. Now, it's one of the 3 strategic bombers the US military use, including the B-2 Spirit Stealth, Cheese Wedge, and the B-52, I can't believe it's still flying, Stratofortress, that's the one. Now, as of 2024, it is a 75,000 pound payload, which is pretty darn crazy. It was first envisaged in the 60s, it was a project that got retired, then old Ronnie Reagan pulled it out and decided to order 100. Well, it is now still flying. There are 104 ever built. They're currently in service. However many of those are still operating is probably classified. First flew 49 years ago. It's been to Iraq. It's been to Afghanistan. It's done low-level runs on the Taliban in Afghanistan. It's done Kosovo. It's done many, many, many things. It's been upgraded. It's been updated. And this is from Virtavia. It goes with one livery. Only one livery, which is strange. But there you go. And it's one of the few aircraft where you've got them on display as, retired aircraft and gate guardians and in service at the same time. Welcome to American modern strategic bombers. Now, crew of 4, commander, pilot, offensive systems officer, and defensive systems officer. Call that as a bombardier, I guess. Defensive systems officer is, electronic warfare and things like chaff, flares. Pilot and co-pilot. Co-pilot being the commander of the aircraft, very much like in some military helicopter crews. Now, it's 146 feet long, 137 feet wide, with a height of 34 feet, powered by 4 General Electric F101 GE 102 afterburning turbofans. Because your bomber needs afterburners. Range is 5,100 nautical miles, more if you add Go Juice halfway through. Service ceiling is 60,000 feet, because screw that over there, all the way down there. And she can reach a speed of 721 knots. She goes supersonic. Because your bomber must go supersonic. It's important to have the biggest PP in all of war. Anyway, moving on. We're going to take a look at this in terms of what we get from the guys here at... Where's the switch I need to look for, actually, because the cockpit hatch I need to press. I think it's probably on here. No, this is autopilot controls. I know they're in here... hatch. No, that's the jettison ones. We don't want to jettison the hatch. That would be quite bad of us. I know they put them in here somewhere. But they often hide these things. I don't want to prepare to eject. That would probably be bad for us. We'll press it anyway and see what happens. Did I eject? I didn't eject. Mildly disappointing. Interior texturing is what it is. We'll go outside to take a look at this first, but we'll just do Control H first. For a valid reason, you'll see why. And it's because we're making the boom doors open up. Or they should have. Oh, they are open. We have boom doors with GPUs in there. Reasonable level of detail, actually, for a Virtavia aircraft. Now, I believe they made their FSX one of this quite late into the production of their various aircraft in FSX and P3D. However, it suffers from Virtavia-itis in terms of its texturing. It's not very high quality. They're pretty much the same textures you got on the FSX one. In fact, they are. Although, admittedly, it's mildly better than some of the other ones, like the Sterling. 3D model's okay, but it's not great. Oh, look, an extra bomb bay, in case you didn't have enough in the first one. Now you'll find that little bit of an air brake in front of the bomb bay that she designed to help the bombs fall out straight, rather than have them tumble when they come out as they hit the airflow. Obviously, here's the crew hatch up there, leading into the people place, which is up here. Now, I don't know if we have, in fact, the other crew areas in this. I don't think we do, but they'd be sitting aft of your guys just behind here. So essentially in that part of the aircraft right here is where you'd have them there. Because you've got the pilot, co-pilot here. These guys would blow off, of course, with the ejection seats, and you have the offensive and defensive systems operators here. And they would punch out as well. So the full crew has ejector seats, and they're good to go. Obviously, there goes the drinky straw coming out the front of the aircraft here, with the guidelines so that the operator of the flying shell station can find how to put it in. Right, let's take a look inside, shall we? As I drop everything. Interior is not awful. It's a later Virtavia release in the FSX world, so granted, not awful. It's not good, but it's not awful. This is 21, 22 euros, so about what they always charge for all the other aircraft. And it isn't terrible. Like I said, we have got wing spoilers on the aircraft, which are spoiler key to activate. Our wings come out with the flaps, so full flaps. Retract. That's flaps down. And then 2 stages of actual flaps on there and retract wing. So first to go 1 stage down, that swings them all the way out. We have 2 positions there on the wing fold. No, there we go. No one is there for takeoff for our flight. We'll put the flaps down for that. For takeoff position. Now we'll go inside here. Electronics. We'll go to our startup checklist. So Valkyrie brick is on. That's center console lower left. That's probably going to be down here somewhere. It isn't very specific. There's no diagrams. So you'll forgive me if I do this wrong. There are no diagrams, and it's a matter of kind of looking around until you find something. Of course, you have got the magical... No, it's the button in front of me. It's an actual button. Parking brake. Cool. Throttles to idle. They are set to idle. Now I will have to fix this because I'm, of course, on a split throttle system, and this has 4. So we'll be back in a second. So we have all 4 throttles set now, which is ideal for us. Generators are off. Master battery is off right now, as it should be. It should be on an overhead panel. In fact, it's going to be in one of these here. Battery is set to auto. Okay. Turn on master battery, so that is now... Are you on or off? That's my on switch. So it should be on, but it's gone to the off position. It is now on. Excellent. The battery's on. Check the volts. The volts are metering. They're okay. The test button, fire warning, extinguish. Where did you hide that? You know, we'll just pretend the fire warning is just fine. Because realistically, it's probably going to be. Turn on generators 2 and 3. Generators are on there. Engines 2 and 4 using the engine start switches. Center console aft. Okay, we'll look down here for this. So center console aft. We're looking for engine start. So 2 and 4. Monitor parameters allowed to stabilize to ground idle. RPMs are coming up. We can use Control E on this as well. So it tells us about using generator 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but it does only show on the overhead panel we have 2. Did those work or not? We'll start these 2 to make sure they come up. There we go. We're getting some thrust from those. Judging by this, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 all commanded. Although we're only getting command response from 2 and 4. Now 1's coming up. And 4. The sound drops off, though, significantly when you actually have them running. Interesting. From loss of noise to known. Look at that smoke effect coming out of those. That is mucky. I like it. Okay, our engines are operational and running. Bay doors is there with our tail hook. There's a command switch there, so we've got those closed. So did it, bay door. Nice animations on those. And the actual spoiler comes down. Cool, I'll give them credit for that. Indicators on there. Not everything's clickable. In fact, a lot of stuff isn't clickable. It's typical Virtavia. This is what you get from them. And it's what we expect, admittedly. Now, I do have my instruments on, but I don't have necessarily my electronics on. I do when I turn the switch. So everything is now enabled as it should be, as we want it to be. We have at least got our display, backup instrumentation here, speed, altitude, etc, 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 all around here. It's a very eclectic mixture of various functions in this aircraft, so we'll go with what we've got there. Let's take her out for a test run, shall we? So, I'll get the parking brake off. and we'll start to taxi our way to the runway here at Nellis. And whilst we do this, I'll spin up my head tracking, which is something I've not actually done yet. Very quiet, actually. Very quiet. Almost spooky from the cockpit. I would genuinely expect more noise. And there isn't any. Which is why I was confused, as when we had lots of noise on the startup, and then next to nothing. So the engine, the sounds are definitely a bit wobbly. I mean, it could be fairly quiet, but you'd expect a bit more noise than this. It is a big aircraft, and the engines are all the way back there, but I would expect something more than this. Because there's a general sense of noise, but it's quieter than your default 747 is in the cockpit. And arguably, smaller, quieter engines. Okay, we'll get ourselves taxied to the runway here at Nellis. Now, our taxi instructions say check flight control services. We'll do that, of course, now. Everything good and proper. Turn towards the active runway here. Pull back those two engines a little bit more. Tighten that turn. We're a little bit off there. Staying between 12 and 15 knots according to the manual, which I was not doing. Okay, do not use differential braking. I've been doing that. It's automatic habit from DC-3s. So takeoff data. Let me just quickly check this before we go any further. Make sure we do this properly, because I will say Virtavia do include some useful information in their checklists. Push the trim for takeoff option on the center console. Where are you? Push the trim for takeoff button. Trim for takeoff has been pressed. Okay, well, I'll trust that. This automated system configures the aircraft for takeoff. As necessary, the wings will move to maximum extension angle 15 degrees. Speed brakes will retract, and the slats and flaps will extend for takeoff position. So we are apparently configured in takeoff position here. I'm just going to mess with this, actually, and fold everything in. Let me just fold everything there. Just to see if it does this. Ah, I press it, and it does it. Ah, okay, neat little thing to include. In the real one, it does configure it for takeoff. This does it too. I'll give them credit for that. So hold the brakes, increase power to 80% N1. Afterburners engage above 98% N1. Accelerate to rotation speed, gate pitch, and go up. Regardless of gross weight, retracting trailing edge flaps at 220 knots. Passing through 250, we retract slats, reduce pitch angle to 6 degrees. Proceed to climb out checklist. Okay, let's get ready to go and roll, shall we? Let's fly some bone. Right, all 4 throttles forward. The very quiet B1 here. We'll get ourselves out onto the runway here at Nellis. And we'll take a crack at her. I'm reluctant when it comes to Virtavia aircraft. There is certainly a standard they achieve of, well, it's better than nothing. And in this case, I'd say so far, it's a terribly not unreasonable better than nothing. It's not great, but it's not awful. They've definitely done worse, and it's one of their later releases, so it's at least a decent 3D model. And the texturing's not half awful. I've definitely seen worse, and I could fly it for sure. But it's not amazing. And there's definitely no systems depth. Right. Commanding 80%. Release. That will command full thrust now, including the afterburners. Oh, I felt those kick in. Or I thought I did. Okay, speed's coming up. Pitch back. There she goes. Gear in translation. Interesting split door animation there on the gear. Okay, we'll retract those slats as we come up through 200. Pull the wings in. Pull that power back here to 80%. Very, very quiet, even on full thrust there for takeoff, but the burners didn't kick on at 100, as they should be coming on past 98.5. Sweeping wings towards 280. We are doing that. Now we should be keeping them to the last one intermediate position before 340, but I'm pulling them all the way in just because I want to see this thing fly. Look at this baby. I kind of love it. It's a B1. They're kind of badass. Come through the cloud here. We should see the lake over there. Let's get down and dirty. That's what this girl's for, isn't it? Yes. Come on, let's go buzz the Taliban. That's what she really excelled at in Afghanistan. They did some low and fast passes on the Taliban positions during contacts to provide close air support by just doing a low, fast pass in a supersonic bomber. Because screw you and your goats. Okay, a bit more power. More on the left engines. The quietness is definitely disturbing. I'll give it that. Okay. There's something about flying a strategic bomber at this kind of altitude that's kind of fun. Okay. Full burner. You can feel it kicking you in the seat. We're going through 500 knots right now. Oh, we're moving. This is fun. There's nothing quite like this kind of aircraft. I mean, it'll definitely give you fun. If anything, for the price you're paying, there are worse ways to spend $22. Or 22 euros, I should say. It's a V1 Lancer. It's not the best, it's not the worst. I'd like to see more liveries. I'm hoping we'll see some more liveries from people in the community. Different flights, of course. But just one is a bit of an odd call that they only give us one. Let's turn around here, head back towards McCarran. Come on, up and round we go. The lake looking very full here compared to what it's like in real life. There we go. Come on. Passing 30,000 feet like it ain't nothing here. This thing climbs like a monster. Let's look at our approach information whilst we make our approach back, or head direction, travel back towards the east. And back towards Vegas. So it should be about this heading. We're looking for about 270. So we'll keep coming through 280, 275. Okay, descent procedure should be about 300 knots, so we'll pull the power back once we get a bit closer. We'll leave this at about 80% on our thrust right now. Okay, we're just a bit over that turn, but that's fine. We'll compensate as we get closer. Okay, turn off my headset while we take a look at this, and let's have a look. What does it say? So descent should be planned well advanced with the actual execution due to its inherent low drag profile, so it's very slippery. Gains a lot of airspeed in steep descent profiles, reduce wing sweep to intermediate position of like 1 or 300 knots. We will reduce our speed now to 300 knots. Now, piece of heat warning. Turn that on. Upon beginning deceleration to approach for landing, reduce wing sweep full spread. Okay. Flap 2 at 280 knots. Low landing gear below 275. First flat position at 260 knots. 230 for second. 200 for second position. Proceed to landing checklist. Okay. We'll get ourselves established in a minute once we've slowed down here. We're still very fast. But like they said, it's a slippery aircraft. There's Vegas. And there's McCarran ahead of us. Okay. So we're back to idle on power. I'm going to deploy our spoilers to reduce our airspeed. Did they even come out? They did now. So there's Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and McCarran should be just in front of us. Let's get back in here. And we are slowing through 350. We'll head out towards the strip and we'll make our turn back in for our approach. Winds are calm, so it doesn't matter what direction we're going to be using for this landing. Let's drop that down to below 300 and we'll put our wings into the intermediate position for our approach. Hopefully it'll dirty us up a little bit. Okay. So we're at 280, so we'll go to intermediate position 2. And we'll pull those speed brakes back in. Head out here towards the strip, we'll turn around and make that run in. So a little bit of power here, shouldn't do anything to us. We'll bring it up to about 40%. There we go. And we'll continue on this heading here. We'll just trim the nose up for us as we begin to lose speed. So we're ready for flap position 2. That should be 1 even, I think. Okay, yep, flaps are in position 1. So we're going to circle around here. Let's not gain too much altitude during this. We're at 200, so we can go to full spread. We are below gear extension speed, so gear's coming down. Okay, we'll hold this around 200. Landing checklist will be... Establish approach path to third runway. V1 does not use air brakes, air speeds as an index for approach, rather angle attack. You can change both pitch and airspeed to change angle attack. Indicator on the glare shield. Oh, well, there you are. Okay. So we'll just keep for angle attack. There's our runway. Okay. So let's turn in for final here. Airspeed's quite slow. We'll push the power forward. I want to keep an eye on that angular attack indicator. So we'll adjust that as we can see it. It is harder to see right now because it's kind of beyond my visibility. But we're kind of in the right ballpark. Okay, we're still going up there. So let's keep our nose down. Power back here. Power back. There we go. Powering back to just above idle. Angular attack is a bit too steep. We are gaining speed quite rapidly. We're at 200 knots. That's not what we wanted. Let's put some speed brakes out here. That should help arrest our descent profile and bring us into the right window. This might be very steep though. This is probably extremely steep. We may have to go for the missed approach, which is okay. We're going to go for Mr. Oh no, we might be saving this. I think I can save this. We've got a lot of runway here. No, missed approach. So, flaps to go around position. That panel just right there, in vision, here, is what we're looking for. Okay, pitching up and climbing away. Okay, so our procedure is go to maximum dry thrust, 90.4, so we're just going to go to the 90s, which is fine for us here. Track gear as much as possible, track flaps, maintain full wing spread. So we need to maintain full wing spread. Correct positioning there. So we'll go around here, over Vegas 3 and 4 corners. A lot of climb done here. So you'll see we have down here indicators for our flap positioning. We have the wing sweep, so we'll keep the flaps up there. Maximum wing sweep complete. Okay. There's McCarran, so we'll enter downwind here. We'll fly that regular pattern. We'll do our normal routine, and we should be okay. A little bit less speed this time by, so pull that power out now. We're at 250, so we're slow enough for our wings to be fully spread. It's not for flaps yet. We're below 275, so we're above 275, so we'll keep the gear. Actually, no, we're at 275, so gear's going to come down. Power is going to come back to about 30 there. We've got a lot of speed to burn still. Keep it there. Keep runway in sight. And our speed's now low enough for us to deploy the first notch of flaps. Just wanted to put its nose up so it keeps that down. Second notch out, power down. Okay, looking alright. She's a handful, but she's also very interesting to fly. I'm trying to fly this per the numbers precisely, and it's behaving as I'd want it to. I'm just unfamiliar with its size and power, which definitely makes a difference. So we'll begin that turn in here. Probably a little soon, but we'll make it function. Okay, we're at full flap extension. Okay, we're good on our angle of attack. Let the nose drop here. Let the nose sink down. Gears confirmed down. We have full flap extension. Wings are full sweep forward. We're still positive on our angle of attack. But we are descending and we are at a little higher speed, but we'll make it work. Spoilers are going to go out. Just to buy us some time here. Engines to idle. We're way too tight in on this base to final turn. But I'm going to make this one work, I think. Ready to bring the power up if I need it. Steep, but I'm going to stick this thing like a prize hog. How about we retract those spoilers, shall we? Spoilers in. Hold the nose. Little wiggly. Angle attack is good. We're floating a hell of a lot. Holy sugar. Touchdown. Gear deploys. Speed brakes are out. Thankfully, we've got tons of runway here. That was the worst landing I think I performed. Touchdown was okay. We floated for half the runway. Less than ideal. I'm not used to flying a 4-engine bomber that's this fast and slippery. She's really slippery. I will give it that. I'm not used to something this slick. It's like flying a Vans with 4 jet engines on it. Like, I find Vans to be very, very slippery and gain speed very easily. This thing is just as bad. It's like flying a fighter jet that's just huge. It's a lot like the Vulcan in that regard. So this is almost the American Vulcan. Very fast, very slippery, and honestly, a lot more than I'm used to handling. So it's certainly a challenge, and it's not the worst modelled. It's not great, again, but it's not the worst. So I'll give them that. And it looks alright. It's got enough interesting behaviour in terms of functions and systems in there that it will keep you entertained. But of course, it is certainly not a full systems depth release. It's nothing like the Just Flight Vulcan, of course, in that regard. Crossing the runway here. Should be alright. So honestly, I think so far, and I'm going to go on a limb here and say this is probably the best aircraft Virtavia have released yet for MSFS. Of course, we had the Sterling, we had the Russian, the American, sorry, float plane. I think there's been one more. I wouldn't be sure. But it's not terrible. I'll actually look it up really quickly whilst we're here. I do miss some of the old aircraft they brought out, of course, for the sim, like the Beaufort and the Blenheim. I desperately wanted the Beaufort or Blenheim. Or for A2A to bring out their Anson again. So we had the Tiger Cat, which was eh. I really didn't think that was any good. It was kind of crap. We had the Tradewind, I think it was. The float plane. And we had, yeah, the Jet one. And we had the B1. And we had the the Sterling. Seamaster. No, P6M Seamaster, the Sterling, the Tiger Cat, and now the Lancer. And we had the Skyhawk. The Skyhawk was kind of junk. What I'd love to see, I'd love to see their Hampton. I'd love to see their... Honestly, I'd love to see the Beaufort and the Blenheim. Those are some very underappreciated... The early war British bombers are very underappreciated. And even their Super Fortress wasn't terrible. They had a lot of cool older aircraft, and if they're going to pump them out this quickly and just convert them over, at least convert what they've got over and put them out. Because I think they wouldn't be too terrible. Let me know what you think. I think it's not the worst they've done yet. I think it's probably the best they've done yet. Still lots of work to do, but certainly not terrible. Thanks for watching. Bye!